Welcome back, my favorite gamers and developers. So today, I'm going to continue what I started on yesterday with the action sheets and show you what I did for NPCs. Let's jump over and take a look. So I've created an NPC sheet, and I have the dice rolls that you saw previously on the character sheet. They're also working on here. So when I click strength, then I click fight, and I hit roll, I'm going to get those dice to roll across the screen. This can also, if the GM wants to, they can use the dice and the difficulty modifier. So it will add the additional dice and subtract the difficulty for this roll. Also, on the NPC sheet, I gave them a notes page. So they could do things that you saw like over on the character sheet. They can bring in the links. And so if they make their own, I don't know, Word document or OneNote, or if they use sites like Scabbard, like I do, they'll be able to click on that and get a link right to the character page. And then also I added a character image, so that way if you want to link the character up, I have just a designated spot, and this way I can throw this up and put it out for the players to see for the characters. And then I left, of course, the section just to type away, put any kind of notes that you want into it at. But I also added the actions page. And this can accept actions just like a character. So I could give them a boomstick, a kick, and a sword. And when they click their kick, it will roll the dice. When they click their sword, it will also roll the dice. Click the damage, it will roll for damage. The boomstick, they're going to be out of resources. I also gave them a resource field here over on the page. So now it should be able to roll the dice for their boomstick. And then when they run out of resources, it will flag that they're out of resources again. So this is cool and all. The players have a way to set up pre-attack, so they could just go and click their attacks and be done with it. The GM will also be able to do this on an NPC sheet. But I wanted to take it one step further. I wanted them to be able to come into the combat tracker when the GM... sorry, this is actually an old character. I deleted them. When the GM is running a game, they open it up, and they're like, I want to attack with a sword. That's why they don't have to have they can have their screen a little bit more clear, because you all know when running, you have your map up, you probably have some notes and some other information. Screen space is very important. Well, by throwing this stuff into the combat tracker, the GM can take over a character. Oh, don't have the resources on the boomstick. So they can go ahead and just click the attack or click the damage for the characters. This works both with from the characters, or it also works with NPCs. This way, special characters that are named, GMs will probably want to keep them in a character section here, or just take ownership, so they can have a little bit more detail and record about that character. And so I wanted to show both the NPCs and the characters this will load from. I added a button here because I didn't want to add an ad handler that was constantly checking between these things. I'm always afraid of too much happening and the game start lagging, or we're having some other kind of problems. So if the player adds in, what do they have? A just bonus. So the just bonus is here. I just basically, this is a refresh, and it will bring in the rest if the GM needs it halfway through the combat. Maybe they forgot something, or they want to add additional thing to it. And so that's what this does, just refreshes the screen. I am going to change this icon to be the double arrow common refresh thing that we have all seen. But I was just going to probably do that when I go to whatever game system I'm building for. But yeah, let's take a look at how this is done. Okay, so over here in Ruleset Wizard, this is my NPC sheet. This is the base NPC sheet, so it's pretty simple. I have a couple things on open, mostly just so the lock works. But I've shown this code before. And then I have my sub windows for main, actions, and notes. My header is pretty much copying what the NPC Sheet header did before. My NPC main sheet, this has some standard information that's kind of needed for NPCs if you want to use Fantasy Ground System well. And then I just copied these over from my character sheet. They work exactly the same. The resource field here is just a number and a label. Whatever, it's locked. The role field, it's the same exact button. I just copied it from the character sheet, put it over here, and it's good to go. That was weird. The NPC notes page, I have my formatted text, and then I have my character image link that's here. And then this field is a sub window for character description. And if you look at the code that's down in here, it's the exact same code that I used over on the character sheet. And this is the NPC version of the character sheet. It's exactly the same one as the one that I made for the regular PC character sheet. It's just I had to condense it a little bit for the NPC. And if I was to do this again, I probably would have only made one of these and used that left control and right control, and then had this all adjust based on where those were located. But that wasn't my mindset back when I first created this. Now, this I've talked about before. This was for the combat entry, and I added this little actions piece here. But before, I just had a string and a number because I didn't know what I wanted to do with it. Well, now I know what I want to do with it. And so I used this action detail that I showed in a previous video. And that is what this Who Am I section is doing here. It's figuring out, am I part of the combat tracker or am I part of one of the character sheets? Once it figures that out, it knows where to get the link to determine the character node. And then the rest of it is just pulling off the character sheet and everything else like I showed you. And so this update really wasn't hard at all because I already built all the other infrastructure, and I was kind of surprised that this was the only piece I needed to change. Once I moved it over into the combat tracker, I figured there was going to be some more, but I threw it over there and I was like, okay, let's just run, see what errors I get. And I saw the error pop up on my window, and so I fixed the character node real quick and I ran it and it worked. And I was like, oh yeah, I guess that makes sense. It should. But I was a little bit surprised because my journey to get this far was not that easy. And so usually whatever can go wrong will go wrong with me. So what'd you think? This one I was actually pretty excited about. I had this idea a long time ago and I wanted to do it. This is not my first time trying to make template, but this is my first time making template with Ruleset Wizard. And I believe Ruleset Wizard is what actually made me successful this time versus last time. Ruleset Wizard took all the difficult tasks of creating the object, getting them to even just appear on the screen, looking right, being in the right spot, out of my hands. And it handled that part. And then I was able to focus on the logic, what to do with that object once it's there on the screen. And that's the part of development I feel that I'm good at. So I could focus in, get the logic and everything to handle as expected, but Psychedelics took care of the rest for me. By just giving me these objects, I could drag and drop on the screen, and they're good to go. I had to play a little bit with the properties window, the action detail, because it now expands and shrinks depending on its size. That took a little bit more manipulation than most objects that I dragged and dropped on screen, but it was still 100 times easier than trying to do it in Notepad++. So I'm going to release one more video, kind of just give a overall view of this is what all the pieces of template look like. And I hope you enjoyed this. And if you use template, which you're free to use, this is my giving everybody permission. Please use it to build your own rule set. Let me see it. I want to see what your guys' creations are. So until next time, keep gaming and keep developing.